Hello guys, today we will be recreating Shadowhunter's healing wave from Warcraft 3. After you are done following this tutorial, you can alter the visuals to better fit your game. Here we are on a brand new project. In all my tutorials, I start by setting up my scene with a plane that has a checker material. After that's done, I'm going to set up a couple of spheres for our spell to bounce to. Right, now create an empty game object and call it Healing Wave. Give it a sphere collider and enable its trigger. Increase the radius to something like 10. This is the radius that we'll add to the list of our possible targets to bounce to, so if I move it over here, I'm going to be able to bounce to either this one or this one. However, this one that's outside the radius won't be added to our possible targets list. I'm just going to quickly move all closer together. Create a new particle system and call it Loop. Make it a child of the Healing Wave game object and make sure its position and rotation are set to 0. Set the start speed and start size to 0. And for start color, enable 2 of them and select the colors you want. I'm going to go for like a white yellowish and a yellow. Set the simulation speed to 4. Under emission settings, change the rate over time to 5. Under shape settings, change the shape to sphere and radius to 0.5. Nothing is happening now on the screen because we need to enable trails. For color over trails, select a gradient fading in transparency. For width over tail, I will choose 0.5 and change it to a curve going down. Now if you move it, nothing happens still. That's because you need to enable world space, assign a trail material, and disable size effects width. Now move it around and you'll be able to see it. I think it's still too big, so I will go to the width over trail setting and lower it to 0.2. Actually 0.1. Yeah, that's much better. Enable force our lifetime and 2 values. This will make the trail that it leaves behind a bit more wobbly and not so straight. Now simply add these values to the X and Z and we're done. Move it around and you can see the trails are not so straight anymore. Cool, good stuff. Reset its position. Create a new particle system and call it Impact. Make it a child of our Healing Wave game object and reset its position and rotation. Duration and start lifetime to 2 seconds. Start speed to 1. Enable between 2 colors and select whatever colors you like. I'm going for the white and yellowish again. Change the simulation space to world. Disable looping and increase the simulation speed to 5. Under emission settings, disable rate over time and add a burst of 60 particles. Cool. Under shape settings, change its shape to sphere and radius to the minimum possible. Enable size over lifetime and select a curve going down. Awesome, we're done with the setup. Create a new C# script, call it Healing Wave, and add it to our Healing Wave game object. Open it up on your coding software of choice and let's begin writing some code. So this will be very similar to the Chain Frost tutorial I made a while back. In case you haven't seen it, go give it a watch. It actually came out looking pretty cool. We'll begin by creating our variables. The bounces is how many times it will jump before destroying itself. Healing is the healing done once it reaches a target. Movement speed and rotation speed. Stop distance is how far from the target it will stop, and the destroy timer. For private variables, we will need 2 transforms. The current target and the transform of the particle system we created earlier named Loop. The 2 particle systems we created a boolean to control the update loop, and two lists. One to hold the possible targets and another one that will hold what we have already healed, to avoid healing the same target twice. Under start, we will assign both of our particle systems as well as the loop transform. Then we will check if we do not have a target and our possible targets list contains more than 0 possible targets. We remove the current target variable from the list to avoid assigning the target twice, and then create a random variable and assign a new target from our list using this random variable. Cool. Under update, we first check if we are not dead and then do another check to see if we do have a target. If we don't have a target, we also check our list of possible targets is bigger than 0, and if it is, we simply copy this code and paste it here to assign a random target. Up here, the first thing we will do is make sure that the target is not inside the possible targets list, because if it is, then we might assign it twice and that's not good. Then we move the healing wave forward using our move speed variable. For this to work properly though, we need to make sure we are looking at the target. This next part is purely aesthetic. The healing wave has this sort of like spiraling movement, so I am rotating the loops transform to achieve this look. Now we gotta store the distance between the healing wave and the target in a temporary variable so that we can check how close to it we are. Create a new function and call it heal. This is going to be called whenever we reach the target. First thing we do here is access the health script of the unit you want to heal. I do not know what that script looks like in your project, but you will do something like this. You use the target to get the health script component and add the healing variable we previously created. Of course, I do not have a health script, I'll do that in a second, so I will comment this out for now. Next, we need to add the target to the health target list and remove it from the possible target list to avoid healing it twice. Play the impact particle system we created earlier and then check if the possible targets list has more than 0 in it. If it does, then we need to assign a random target, so copy these 2 lines of code and paste it here. Lower bounces by -1 and then check if the bounces are smaller or equal to 0. Create a new function and call it finish wave and add it in here. Inside our finish wave function, we set isDead to true and stop the write over time of our loop particle system. Destroy the healing wave using the destroy timer to allow our loop particles to fade away. Now we have to add units to our possible targets list using onTrigger state. First check we do here is see if the tag of this trigger is equals to our tag to check variable, which we will assign later in the inspector. Also, if our possible targets list does not contain this trigger. Also, if the target is not equal to this trigger. Also, if we are not dead. And lastly, if our heal targets list does not contain this trigger. If all of this is true, then we add it to our possible targets list. Now when they leave our trigger, we need to remove them, but before that we check if it has the right tag and that it is also not dead. Alright, cool man, we are all done coding. Back in Unity, I'm just going to quickly create a new script and call it health script. You don't have to do this part, I just want to be able to visualize whenever I heal a target. So inside the script, all I'm really doing is changing the material color to yellow whenever our health is above 0. I will add this script to the player units and a rigid body so that our spirit trigger gets called properly. For our healing wave values, I'm going to do something like this. Bounces to something crazy high to make it sure that it heals all the units within a radius. Healing to, 50. Movement speed to 100 so that it's really fast. And rotation speed needs to be really high so that we can actually see it rotate. Stop distance to 0.5 units and destroy timer to 3 seconds. I think 3 seconds is more than enough for all of our particles to fade away. For tag to check, type in player or whatever tag you want these abilities to affect. Awesome, it's all working as intended. Go play around with some of the values and customize it to look however you want. Here are some of my examples. You can get access to all these project files in my Patreon. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this helped you out. I got a few more tutorials coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.